Hey guys, welcome back to Mr. Nell's Social 9 podcast. Today we are on Chapter 5, Episode 5, Provinces and Immigration. So we'll be talking about what impact the provinces can have with regards to immigration and refugee policies. If you're following along the textbook, I'm on page 186. And then we're almost done this chapter. So, Section 3. How do provinces influence immigration laws and policies? What's in this section? A map describing where immigrants settle in Canada. I'm going to want you to take a look at that. Okay, so it'll be like there's immigrants all over Canada, but where are the three major places that they go? And point form notes about ways provinces can influence immigration. Focus questions for this episode. Facts about the regional distribution of immigrants, so where immigrants usually go, how the distribution of immigrants affect the quality of life of Canadians already here, and how federal immigration laws attempt to respond to these issues. So just a fact to read here, Yolande right here is immigration is the responsibility of Canada's federal government. So think critically. Why do you think Quebec might have its own immigration minister? What other provinces have their own immigration ministers? So just something to think about. Why do you think Quebec in particular would have their very own immigration minister? So map here, it's also on page 188. So this map shows the top 3 locations where immigrants settled in Canada in 2007, and it honestly hasn't changed a whole lot. Taken together, there were 32% of all immigration to have come to Canada. So if you're looking at these top 3 locations, you got Toronto, 39%, Montreal, 15%, and Vancouver, 14%. That is insane. Okay, and if you're looking at the bottom questions there, I'm not asking you to write those down, but why might immigrants in Canada choose to settle in Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver? Okay, going with that, why might some not choose to go there? Okay, so when it says one objective of the Immigration and Refugee Protection Act is to share the economic benefits of immigration across all region of Canada. Based on this map and chart, how well do you think Canada has achieved this goal? Well, if you're looking at the chart, has all of Canada benefited from immigration? No. Basically, you got 3 major places. So in what ways can provinces influence and implement immigration policies? So provinces control some aspects of immigration in an attempt to make sure immigration fits and meets their needs, because every province might have different skills they require from people that are immigrating there. I do want to preface this with saying that the government, as of right now, cannot tell immigrants where to go. They can actually go wherever they want. When you move to Canada, immigrate here from any other country, not refugee, immigrate, you can go anywhere you want. However, the government can highly suggest where might be a good place to go, depending on what skills you have, what job you're looking for, etc. Which brings us to the Provincial Nomination Program. So under the Provincial Nomination Program, provinces can nominate a percentage of the immigrants Canada selects each year. This means, for example, that Alberta can specify that it needs immigrants with particular skills. This program also allows some provinces to set up their own immigration offices in foreign countries. For example, Alberta could have their own immigration office in any country they want, with the goal being to encourage immigrants from that country to move to Alberta particularly. Governments in Canada can't require immigrants to settle in particular places or work particular jobs. The provincial nomination program increases the likelihood that immigrants will settle in the provinces whose labor needs match their skills. This could be a discussion as well. So we can tell or ask or highly suggest where immigrants should go and what jobs they should do, especially if they have the skills to do it. But technically, Alberta could say we really need plumbers. We get a immigrant here that has a skill set in plumbing, and then they decide to do a different job and not move to Alberta at all. So that's a negative with this program. So just something to think about, food for thought again. If you're looking at page 189, you don't need to answer the question, but just look at page 189. It says, Alberta currently receives about 20,000 immigrants yearly, and I expect the expanded provincial nomination program will help increase and speed up the flow of immigrants and help address our labor shortages. Alberta needs the right workers at the right time with the right skills. So if you look down to Connect the Big Ideas, the bottom page 189, it says Alberta wanted to speed up the flow of immigrants in 2007 for economic reasons. The reason was because of the massive boom in oil sand development. It says, to what extent has the situation changed or remained the same today? And I want you to think here is, at the time, 20,000 sounds like a giant number. That's how desperately Alberta needed workers. There were so many jobs to fill and not enough people to fill those jobs that we had to speed up the flow of immigration, which is great. That means Alberta's doing really well. But what happens when all those people get here and those jobs go away? Food for thought. Something to think about. What workers does Alberta need? I want you to think about what they need today. This is based on 2006, but what do they need today? Just do you think? Look it up. Alberta's Minister of Employment, Immigration and Industry said in 2007 that Alberta was facing labor shortages. That means we do not have enough workers to do the jobs that we need. On the slide here, you can see where those major shortages were. Construction, carpenters, roofers, people that can build houses, 98% worker shortage. Transportation, truck drivers, bus drivers, 91%. Go down the list on your own here. Manufacturing, 89%. Desperately needed workers. That means we did not have enough population here to do the jobs that we needed. That's where immigration comes in. So it says on the bottom there, just discussion, if you were responsible for setting immigration priorities in Alberta, how would the information on the chart on the right influence you? What skills would you ask the federal government to target in immigration? Again, something to think about. Taking the assignments away here, guys. I just wanted to have discussions here. What percentage of immigration does Canada does Alberta receive? So here you got Ontario, 50% of all immigrants go to Ontario. 17% BC, 3% the rest of Canada, 18% Quebec, 8% Alberta, 4% Manitoba. What challenges face Alberta without enough immigrants? How can Aboriginal people be part of a solution to meet labor shortages? And how do these questions connect to your quality of life as someone who already lives in Alberta? These are a lot of things that you yourself can think about, especially as you move toward becoming able to vote. So if we have a boom and we need workers with skill sets and no one's getting those skills that we need, how can immigrants help? How can Aboriginal people help? Then we got the Canada-Quebec Accord. This is a special agreement between the Government of Canada and Quebec. The Canada-Quebec Accord is a legal agreement concerning immigration issues between the federal government of Canada. It's a legal agreement concerning immigration issues between the federal government of Canada and the provincial government of Quebec. Is a legal agreement concerning immigration issues, between the federal government of Canada and the provincial government of Quebec. So it's just an agreement with regards to immigration. Hint, has to do with luring French-speaking immigrants to Quebec. The Broad Accord, signed in 1991, preceded similar agreements with other provinces, including British Columbia. The Broad Accord, I don't know why this is repeated, guys, sorry here. Again, British Columbia and Manitoba. The arrangement gives Quebec, this is the key point here, try to see if you can see my mouse here. The arrangement gives Quebec the exclusive responsibility of choosing immigrants and refugees still living in their foreign countries but wishing to relocate to the province. Selected applicants are issued certificate de selection to Quebec. Citizenship and Immigration Canada issues the actual visa after background and health verifications. That means Quebec gets basically first dibs on any French-speaking immigrants. Something to think about. This is on, if you're looking at me here, I'm on page 191. How does this accord help to strengthen the French language in North America? How does this accord reflect the rights of official language groups? So this is the collective rights and the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. How does it help them? And how does this accord offer ways for Quebec to affirm the use of the French language? So I'm asking you to do this just to think about it. How does this Canada-Quebec Accord help Francophones in Canada? So you're looking here, example, under the Quebec Accord, Quebec has an immigration office in this city, in Syria. Many people in the Middle East where Syria is located have some knowledge of French because France controlled parts of the Middle East during the 20th century. Canada's government wants recruiting French-speaking immigrants from Syria and other countries. And your final assignment here is an open book review of immigration and refugees in Canada. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great day. See you next time.